Welcome to Jagat Guru Nanak Dev Punjab State Open University, Patiala. Welcome students for the certificate course in the Science of Happiness at Workplace. Under this, I'm your teacher, Dr. Sulakshna. We'll be taking the subject, the Foundation of Happiness at Workplace. Under this, today we are going to do the unit number 4, that is leadership qualities. Otherwise, the unit is all about leadership qualities, teamwork and work-related values and attitudes. So today we're just going to focus on the leadership qualities aspect. So objective of this e-tutorial is to define and describe these concepts: leadership, teamwork, work-related values, and attitude. Second, objective is to analyze the theoretical rationale behind the concept and identify and interpret the interrelationship amongst the concepts and correlate various research findings in each concept. The most important factor in determining organizational success is effective leadership. Leadership is a key ingredient in corporate effectiveness. This view is by no means restricted to organization. Leadership also plays a central role in politics, sports, and many other human activities. Of course, we have seen leaders of the countries, leaders in the political arena, leaders in the sports, leaders in the spiritual science. We have political leader, we have spiritual leader, we have religious leaders, we have organizational leaders, we have corporate leaders. So there's no dearth of leaders. But there is a saying by a very famous management guru, Kotter. He says there is no dearth of managers, but there is a lot of, there's no dearth of managers. There are so many people to manage the organizations, but there is quite a dearth of people who could lead the organization. So, according to Bass and Avolio, a single specific definition of leadership is a very complex task, as literature and studies on this topic are varied. There is no one definition which is widely and universally accepted, because some people say it's a process, some say it's all about traits, it's all about quality. The number of people, those who have tried to define leadership, they have defined in a different manner. So we have many aspects. It's a multifaceted concept. There are so many aspects through which we can see the leadership, but there are certain generally accepted definitions. In the words of Kotter, the primary function of a leader is to create the essential purpose or mission of the organization and the strategy for attaining it. By contrast, the job of manager is to implement that vision. So difference between leader and manager. He or she is the means of achieving the end, which is the vision created by the leader. The confusion between these two terms rests in the fact that the distinction between establishing a mission and implementing is often blurred in practice. This is because many leaders, such as top corporate executives, are frequently called on not only to create a vision, but also to help implement it. Similarly, managers are often required to lead those who are subordinate to them, while at the same time carrying out their leader's mission. So generally we say leaders have followers, while managers have subordinates. Leaders lead the followers, while managers enable. His job is to manage. His job is to enable his employees with the resources so that they can accomplish the task, accomplish the goals of the common goal of the organization. So there is a difference between leader and managers. Leaders are those people who influence other people to get the things done, and while manager, they plan, they organize, they direct, they control. Whatever we have studied under management, what management functions are: people to planning, organizing, directing, controlling, etc. So managers, they manage the things through all management functions, but leaders lead them. So it doesn't mean that leader has to be a manager, but we necessarily say that manager must have a properties, traits of a leader. So leader can, for example, we say a follower doesn't need to be a leader, but these contemporary studies say even a follower also need to have leadership abilities. Right. So a leader is one who could produce more leaders. Rather than he should create an army of followers. he should also create more and more leaders. So for in followers also, we expect that there should be leadership qualities in them. So who is the great leader? One who could create more leaders, not an army of more followers. Early efforts to identify. So next is theories based on leader trait and behavior. Early efforts to identify key traits that set leaders apart from other people. The great man theory. Thomas Carlyle was the person who propounded this theory. However, recent evidence suggests that leaders do in fact differ from followers in certain respects. Great man theory, that means the people who act as a leader, who act in a leadership stature, who are in the leadership capacity, they have certain traits which distinguish them from the follower, which distinguish them from the non-leader. So leaders are very unique people. They are some great people. So everybody can't be a leader. This is what the great man theory proposed as by Thomas Carlyle. So however, recent evidence suggests that leaders do in fact differ from the follower in certain respects. They are higher in leadership motivation, drive, honesty, self-confidence, several other traits. In addition, successful leaders appear to be high in flexibility, the ability to adapt the style to the follower's need and to the requirement of the specific situations. Theories based on leader traits and behavior. So, leaders differ greatly in their style or approach to leadership. One key dimension involves the extent to which leaders are directive or permissive towards subordinates. So, another dimension involves the extent to which they are participative or autocratic. Generally, all of us have studied about these leadership styles. For example, are you an autocratic, a democratic leader, or participative leader? So autocratic is one where the power is centralized towards the leader only. So he is directing other people what to do, not to do. While in democratic leadership style, he participate. He asked the student. He asked not the student. He asked his employees to have a say in the decision making. So how much you allow that participation, how much you allow that say, that differs from leader to leader. But that's what is. I mean, that's just in spectrum where it ranges from a lot of participation or to moderate participation to a very, very moderate, very low or a mild participation. So that's a whole spectrum, but we call it a participative leadership style. Another one is the paternalistic leadership style, where the leader acts as a father figure to the employees. So he is the one who patronizes his employee. So autocratic, democratic, and the paternalistic, or we call laissez-faire, or free reign style of leadership. Leaders also vary along with two other dimensions concerned with the efforts to attain successful task performance, initiating structure, and concerned with maintaining favorable personal relations with subordinates consideration. Research shows that although these basic dimensions appear to be universal, many of the specific behaviors reflecting each one tend to be uniquely associated with leader's culture. So how much leader is involved in initiating structure and how much leader is involved in considerating with the subordinate, how much favorable personal relationship he gets into with the employees or not. That is also a base which determine what leadership style he is going to have. Next is theories based on leaders and followers. So one very important theory on this is called LMX theory. LMX is leader-member exchange model. So that specifies that leaders favor members of some groups, referred to as in-groups, more than the other, referred to as out-groups. As a result, in-groups perform better than out-groups. Why so? Because, you must have seen in any organization that leader has certain very confident people. Some people who just share the same kind of skill, attitudes, values as that of a leader. So they come into the in-group of the leader, while other people they come into the out-group. So the people who are in the in-group, why they come in the in-group? Because of some likeliness with the leader, because they are like-minded people, like we say, birds of feather flock together. So they gel with the leader very well, while other people, they do not find that connectivity with the leader, so they come into the out group while other people come into the in group. So generally it has been seen, the research has proved that those people who are in the in group, they perform better, they are more satisfied people, and their performance is also good as compared to the people, those who come into the out group. So this is called LMX models. Why that happens? Because why a person behaves with you in a particular manner, because it also depends the way you behave with the other person. So it is the transactions that happens between two persons, whether it is complementary transaction, whether it is ulterior transaction, whether it is parallel transaction between two people. So that just depends upon the mindset where the people is talking about with the other. So the attributional approach focuses on leaders' attribution of followers' performance, that is, its underlying causes. When leaders perceive that their subordinates' poor performance is caused by internal factors, they react by helping him or her to improve. However, when poor performance is attributed to the external sources, leaders direct their attention toward changing aspects of work environment believed to be responsible for the poor performance. This attributional approach applies to the individuals also. Like, for example, there is this is called a bias, attributional bias, where we say, if I failed, then it is because of somebody else. If I have succeeded, it's because of me only. So this is a self-attribution bias, where you, because you're not fair here in telling yourself that it was your responsibility. I mean, you should blame yourself for failing in a particular venture, what you fail, the external sources. So here in this theory, the attributional approach, if the leader finds that subordinate's poor performance is due to the internal factors, then he would help him out in telling that how to improve in the workplace. While in other case, if he's performed poorly, then he would, and the attribution is toward the external sources, then he will try to, change the external environment, which he believed to be responsible for the poor performance. Next is theories based on leaders and followers. So some leaders, known as transformational leaders or charismatic leaders, exert profound effects on the beliefs, perceptions, and actions of their followers. Such leaders have a special relationship with their followers in which they can inspire exceptionally high levels of performance, loyalty, and enthusiasm. An important factor in the impressive influence of transformation leader over others involves their proposal of an emotion-provoking vision. Other actions by transformational leaders involve framing, defining the purpose of their movement or organization in highly meaningful terms, and the willingness to take risks and engage in unconventional actions to reach stated goals. Although many leaders use their charisma for ethical purposes, others do not. So here, where we have discussed about transformational or charismatic, there is one more category of leadership, what we call transactional leader. Transactional leader is one. Transaction, as we say, what is transaction? Transaction is give and take. So till the time your leader and follower is just have a relationship of give and take. Like, for example, if you're working in my organization, in return you're getting a pay, right? I don't have, other than this, any kind of relationship with my employees. Then this aspect is called transactional leadership style. You're coming in my organization to work, and in return you're getting the salary. Right, so that's a transactional way of dealing with your employees. While transformational is where you are involved with the leader, you take him to the very high level. You show him a great vision. You show him you provoke him to dream whatever he has not dreamt about. There is a framing. You tell them in a highly, you define the purpose in the organization in very meaningful terms, and they engaged in a very unconventional action. So they basically transform their employees from here to here, right? They raise their level from this level to that level. So this is transformational. Another one is charismatic. Charismatic has come from the word charisma, which means some special qualities, godlike features, godlike traits. So you see, charismatic people also they transform or not. That is debatable. But transformational people, they also use transactional leadership style, and they are sometimes charismatic also. So transformation means you are actually bringing transformation in your employees as well as into your organization. Whether you are charismatic or not, that's a different thing. But charismatic leader, they lead their employees through their charisma. I mean, the follower feel that their leaders have certain characteristic which is unique, which is just found in this leader only, in nobody else. So they give him a god-like respect, right? But charisma is sometimes act as a double-edged sword also, because it acts as a liability to the organization sometimes. Because, for example, if charismatic leader is at the lower level, if there is somebody who has very charismatic ability and now he's able to influence so many employees of yours, but because he's at the lower level or at the middle level, he cannot use his authority to do something for their followers. And sometimes what happens, why charisma becomes a liability, because there is so much of dependence of followers on the charismatic leader. They think if our leader would not be there, our survival will not be possible. So they feel helpless without their leader. So what is required is that leader should create more leaders behind them rather than an army of followers behind him. Those who should not feel helpless if the leader is not there. In the absence of the leader, they should not feel helpless. So charisma is a very good quality. There are various leaders in political arena, in religious arena, in the countries also. Those who were charismatic, but there are liabilities of being charisma. And we can't say that even transactional leadership is not required. Even the transformational leader also follow transactional leadership style. So because from the very starting you have to you have to be transactional leader. You first be able to you should be able to give a good salary to your employees in return for the work they are doing. Then you should talk about the higher ideals, higher goals, higher moves. Then of course it is your trait in you that make people influenced by you or follow you. So that's a charismatic ability. But you need to create a balance. How do you want to lead your employees? Through transactional, through transformational, or through your charisma? Or you just want to have a blend of all these three? Like transactional is required at the starting. You want to really, you are concerned about the higher goals of the people and the development of your employees and the organization. And if you have those qualities, charisma, that people get influenced by you, then you should also use that charisma. But the purpose behind that, to influence people, should be ethical, should be noble. Contingency theory of leader effectiveness. Contingency means, for example, we have just talked about leadership traits. So we discussed there what are the characteristics that distinguish leader from a non-leader. Are the certain traits. In behavioral theory, we talked about there are certain behaviors that what he does in the job that makes him distinguished from from the non-leader. But in contingency leadership theory, we says the leadership is contingent upon certain situations. For example, if there is a person who is an autocratic leader, in a particular situation, he is very good. He's faring very well with the employees. But in another situation, you would find a democratic leader is working well, style is working well. So this theory talks about that you should be able to switch your style according to the situation. That means it talks about style switching. Of course, there are certain traits that makes a person different from the non-leader, leader from the non-leader. Of course, there are styles. There are different styles. There is a production-based style. There is people-based style. There is managerial grid, where we talk about 10 leadership styles, five major one. But under what situation one style would be successful, and in other situation another style would be successful. So in that very case, this theory comes with a perspective that it is contingent upon situation, which leadership model, which leadership style, which leadership trait is effective or not. That depends upon the situation. So under this, a Fiedler's LPC contingency theory suggests that both a leader's characteristic and situation factors are crucial. Task-oriented leader, termed as high LPC leader, are more effective than people-oriented leader, termed low LPC leader, under condition in which leader has either high or low control over the groups in question. In contrast, people-oriented leader are more effective under condition where the leader has moderate control. So he gave this concept of LPC, that under what situation a relationship-oriented or under what condition a task-oriented leader would do well with certain situational factor like leader-member relation, like position power, and there is one more situation variable there. Next is theories based on leaders and followers. Some leaders known as contingency theories of leader effectiveness. The situational leadership theory proposed by Hersey and Blanchard suggests that most effective style of leadership, delegating, participating, selling and telling, depends on the extent to which followers require guidance and direction and emotional support. Effective leaders are required to diagnose the situations they face and implement the appropriate behavioral style for that situation. So this model, Hersey Blanchard's, they talk about maturity of the follower. Maturity means maturity is readiness and ability, whether he is able and he's ready to learn. He's not able, he's not ready to learn. He's ready to learn, but he's not able. He's both. He's not ready, and side by side, he's not able to learn. Not ready to learn, and he's not able to learn. So both the things are there. So in different situations, you got to see where to apply delegating authority, delegating technique, participating technique, selling and telling. Right? In telling, you are telling each and everything to the employee, that how you got to do this, how you got to do that, right? In selling, you convince them, you persuade them, you coax the employees that you got to do the work. Because why we use the selling style? Because somewhere people are not ready to work, although they are able, right? Somewhere you need to participate them, let them participate in the things. Somewhere you feel that they are competent enough, they are ready also, they are able also. So you just need to delegate the work to them. So seeing what the situation is, accordingly you need to follow you need to switch your style. So basically contingency talks about situational theory, also called situational leadership theory, and we call it we call it situational SLT, situational leadership theory. So it says styles need to be altered, styles need to be switched according to the situations. Next is again another model of contingency theory is Robert House path goal theory of leadership, which suggests that leaders' behavior will be accepted by subordinates and will enhance their motivation only to the extent that it helps them progress toward valued goals and provide guidance or clarification not already present in the work setting. So here the role of the leader is to provide them a goal which is smart,